Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into something pretty fascinating. It's a therapy for bipolar disorder called interpersonal and social rhythm therapy. Now that's a mouthful, but the idea behind it is actually simple and honestly kind of brilliant. It's all about how stabilizing our daily schedules and strengthening our relationships can in turn stabilize our mood. So let's get into it. To really get what this therapy is about, I want to start with a question that might sound a little strange. What on earth do jet lag and bipolar disorder have in common? It seems like a total non sequitur, right? But the answer actually gets us right to the very core of this entire approach. We often think of bipolar disorder in terms of its most visible symptoms, the extreme highs of mania and the deep lows of depression. But the research behind this therapy shows us that there's an unseen challenge going on, something much deeper. It's a profound disruption of the body's own internal clocks. I want you to think about it like this. It's like having a permanent internal case of jet lag. The illness doesn't just affect your mood, it throws your most basic, fundamental biological rhythms completely out of sync. We're talking about your sleep-wake cycle, your appetite, your energy levels, even just how alert you feel from moment to moment. This isn't just a side effect, it's a central feature of the illness. And when you look at the symptoms side by side like this, it just clicks. It becomes so clear. During a depressive episode, you have disturbed sleep and crushing fatigue. And then in a manic episode, you might feel like you barely need to sleep at all and have boundless energy. You can see how both extremes are directly plugged into the body's core rhythms being totally thrown off kilter. Okay, so if the problem is basically a broken internal clock, the next logical question is, how do you fix it? Well, that brings us to the really cool scientific insight that this whole therapy is built on. And it's all about what sets that clock in the first place. And for that, we need to understand a key concept, which is a Zeitgeber. Yeah, I know, it's a German word. It sounds kind of clinical. It's pronounced T-S-A-I-T, Geber. But all it means is time giver. That's it. A Zeitgeber is any cue from your environment that helps set or synchronize your internal body clock. And it turns out there are two main types of these time givers. The first kind are the ones we all know about, the physical ones. The sun is the big one, right? Sunlight tells our bodies when it's time to be awake and when it's time to sleep. But, and this is so important for this therapy, there are also social Zeitgebers. These are things like the time you eat your meals, your work schedule, and even just your regular interactions with the people in your life. These social routines are incredibly powerful anchors for our biological clocks. And this all leads to the big idea here, the social Zeitgeber hypothesis. So get this. The theory is that for people who are vulnerable to bipolar disorder, a major disruption to those social routines, we're talking a big breakup, losing a job, even just a week of chaotic sleep, can throw their biological clocks into total chaos. It's like a jolt to the system. And that chaos, that internal desynchronization, can be the very thing that triggers a full-blown mood episode. So, if social chaos can be a trigger, what about the flip side? Could creating social stability actually be a form of treatment? Well, that is the exact premise of interpersonal and social rhythm therapy, or IPSRT for short. IPSRT is designed specifically around that hypothesis. It basically has two main goals, and they're completely intertwined. The first goal is to help people stabilize their daily routines. That's the social rhythm part of the name. And the second goal is to help them work through the relationship problems that so often cause those routines to get messed up in the first place. And that's the interpersonal part. It tackles both. Okay, so that all sounds really smart in theory, right? But what does it actually look like when you're in a therapy session? How does it work in the real world? Let's break it down. Well, for one thing, the therapy is very structured. It's not just talking aimlessly. It usually moves through 4 distinct phases. It kicks off with an initial phase of learning about the illness and pinpointing the biggest problem areas. Then you move into the real hands-on work of stabilizing routines and dealing with relationship stress. After that, it's all about maintenance, making those new habits stick. And finally, you gradually wind down the sessions. It's a real journey. And one of the coolest tools they use is something called the social rhythm metric. It's basically a daily log. As you can see, people track key daily activities, like when they get out of bed, when they first talk to someone, when they eat dinner. They write down a target time, and then the actual time it happened, and they rate their mood. This simple chart is amazing because it makes the whole abstract idea of rhythms totally concrete. You and your therapist can literally see, right then on paper, how the regularity of your day affects your mood.
So while you're tracking those rhythms, the therapy is also zooming in on one of 4 common problem areas in your relationships. It could be grief, and that's not just about losing a loved one, but also, really powerfully, mourning the healthy self a person feels they lost to the illness. Or it could be about navigating huge life changes, dealing with ongoing conflicts, or tackling a long history of feeling isolated.
So, this all sounds really logical, really thought out, but it all comes down to one question, right? The most important question of all. Is there any actual proof that it works? Well, the evidence is definitely promising. In a major study, researchers found that patients who got IPSRT went significantly longer without having another mood episode compared to people who got other forms of treatment. You can see it right here on the chart. That focus on regularity really seems to help keep people well for longer. And that's not all. Another huge study, this one funded by the NIMH, found really similar results. It showed that patients who got intensive therapy, like IPSRT, were almost 1.6 times more likely to be well in any given month. That's a pretty big deal. So after all this, what's the big takeaway? What's the bottom line? It's really about recognizing the incredible, almost hidden power of something we usually just take for granted, our daily routine. The founder of this therapy, Dr. Ellen Frank, really summed it up perfectly. The idea is that for someone with bipolar disorder, creating a consistent, predictable daily life isn't about being boring. It's a powerful form of medicine that can seriously improve their quality of life and help prevent relapse. It can be absolutely life-changing. And that kind of leaves us with a thought-provoking question for all of us, no matter what our mental health looks like. In our crazy, chaotic modern lives, what's the one daily rhythm that gives your life the most stability? Maybe it's that first cup of coffee in the morning, or a walk after dinner, or just having a set bedtime. These simple, tiny routines might be way more important than we ever realize.